10 awful catchphrases WWE wrestlers use that never got over. Let's watch.
There have been some incredible catchphrases in WWE, from "that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so" to The Undertaker's simple yet effective "rest in peace." However, WWE have been known to introduce a truly atrocious and borderline cringe-worthy catchphrase, and they do everything they can to try and get it over. This catchphrase is universally rejected by fans, and thankfully, the catchphrase will be slowly erased from that specific wrestler's character. Join us now as WrestleMania looks at 10 incredibly awful catchphrases that WWE tried to get over. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new channel, WrestleMania Shorts. Number 10, XPac, your ass is grass. XPac was one of the most underrated stars of the Attitude Era. He was a great worker, but the problem was that he just couldn't let the DX persona go. They tried to do some unique things with this character, but every time they did this, XPac would keep all the mannerisms from his character in DX, so nothing felt different, and he'd become insanely stale. One of his more infamous moments of his career was a time that he introduced one of his worst catchphrases of the entire Attitude Era. Randomly in promos, XPac would begin to say, "And your ass is grass, and I'm gonna smoke it!" And this never received a reaction, even from the Attitude Era audience, mainly because it made the credible XPac sound completely ridiculous. WWE was so convinced that this catchphrase was going to get over that they produced official t-shirts with the catchphrase on it. Safe to say, they didn't sell particularly well. Number 9, Ryback rules. When Ryback first debuted the Ryback character, he managed to get over mainly thanks to his Goldberg-esque booking, as well as his great catchphrase such as "feed me more" and "finish it." Upon turning heel in 2013, he would introduce the world to his brand new catchphrase, "Ryback rules." This just didn't have the same effect as his prior catchphrase, and it fell flat extremely quick. In fact, Ryback's whole heel turn in 2013 was heavily criticized for doing irreversible damage to a popular babyface character. As is typical for a new catchphrase, they would license merchandise with the catchphrase on it, but WWE had derailed Ryback's popularity so much that his merchandise was no longer a hot commodity for fans. Number 8, DDP. That's not a bad thing, that's a good thing. It's well documented just how much of a monumental failure DDP's WWE run was between 2001 to 2002. He was one of the most beloved stars in WCW, but they decided to ignore his popularity and instead give him a gimmick of a creepy stalker. Following this disaster of a storyline coming to a close, he would be repackaged as a motivational speaker. This was when DDP would debut a new catchphrase. "That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing."
And this is my TED Talk.
This certainly wasn't the worst catchphrase in the history of WWE. Fans had lost faith in that WWE were going to do anything meaningful with him, so they just didn't care about the catchphrase altogether. Every WCW fan knew that they'd missed a huge trick by not utilizing DDP in a main event level capacity, and this is ultimately one of the biggest missed opportunities in the saga of WWE acquiring WCW. Number 7, Kerwin White. It's not right if it's not white. In 2005, WWE would decide to give Chavo Guerrero one of the most controversial gimmicks of all time. Guerrero would denounce his Mexican heritage and become Kerwin White. He would now live by the ideology that the Anglo-American way was the way he was going to attain success in life, and to represent this questionable character, he would introduce a brand new catchphrase.
"If it's not white, it's not right."
What made this catchphrase even worse was that Guerrero would often say it in front of black wrestlers, and it just made for uncomfortable viewing. It's unclear why exactly WWE were thinking with this ludicrous gimmick and catchphrase, but thankfully, a gimmick of this nature is highly unlikely to ever be seen again. Number 6, Edge, spear, spear, spear. Edge was cemented as one of WWE's top heels in the summer of 2009, but an injury forced the Rated R superstar to take an extended leave of absence from WWE. When he eventually returned in January of 2010, they wanted Edge to be a babyface for the first time in over 5 years. This was a decision which received extensive criticism. Whilst Edge returning as a heroic babyface was great to see, he was just so damn evil and compelling as a heel, and fans wanted to see him back to his villainous ways. During his babyface run, he would introduce a babyface chant of spear, spear, spear.
Did you think you were gonna get a spear? Spear? A spear?
But the crowd didn't take to it as much as WWE or Edge would have liked. It felt forced, which summed up the perception of Edge's babyface character at the time. Number 5, Brie Bella, Brie Mode. When Brie Bella first introduced the Brie Mode catchphrase, fans thought that Brie was trolling the fans. This catchphrase is insanely cringeworthy, and it's crazy to think that Brie kept it for a number of years. Brie would often scream the catchphrase whenever she was in an offense in a match. It became notoriously hated, particularly from those fans with a presence on social media. WWE eventually made the bizarre choice to add someone screeching the words Brie Mode into the start of Brie's theme song. This resulted in one of the most infamous themes in WWE history being produced. Number 4, The Rock, Boots to Asses. Now, The Rock has had several iconic catchphrases, such as
No.
and the hilarious
What's your name? Mark. It doesn't matter what your name is.
But one he introduced in 2011 just failed to take off. Some fans were critical of The Rock's 2011 return as it didn't feel like The Rock of old, it felt more like Dwayne Johnson. The majority of these critics would often point towards the boots to asses catchphrases that The Rock and the WWE were persistently trying to push as The Rock's next big catchphrase. Whilst the crowd did initially chant along mainly because it was The Rock after all, it failed to have a lasting impact, and fans over a decade later only discuss the aforementioned catchphrase in a negative way. WWE tried their best to make the catchphrase something special, and this was shown with the sheer amount of merchandise that was produced with the catchphrase plastered right on it. But the main problem was that it felt unauthentic, and it felt like a catchphrase that the beloved character The Rock wouldn't realistically come up with. Number 2, Dolph Ziggler, It Shoulda Been Me. Former world champion Dolph Ziggler has had a range of characters throughout his extended career, but his 2019 heel character was one of the more confusing. Ziggler would be presented as a heel and would work a feud with Kofi Kingston over the WWE title. Ziggler's motivation during the feud was that he believed that it should have been him, meaning Ziggler believed that all of Kingston's 2019 success should have been awarded to him. Ziggler's character was incredibly negative and sucked the life out of the feud. During every single promo, Ziggler would state,
"And you all admire him, and it should be me!"
as he was evidently trying to get this over as a noteworthy catchphrase, but it was incredibly annoying and failed to take off as a popular catchphrase. Number 2, The Miz. Really? Oh, The Miz is a certified success story in WWE. He went from the host of SmackDown to a multi-time WWE champion and is now considered one of the most respected talents in the locker room. He's had several catchphrases during his past 15 years and some of them have been better than others. Of course,
I'm the Miz, and I'm awesome.
is a fan favorite, but the dreaded really catchphrase is detested by fans. Miz introduced this catchphrase during his first major push in WWE, and it was clearly designed to be the new version of the What chant, but it failed to capture any excitement with the audience. Now, some would argue that the What chant should be on this list, but it did actually have some success. It just got incredibly annoying afterwards. Now, The Miz began to deliver the irritating catchphrase as a heel, but then WWE continued to have The Miz trying to get the catchphrase over when he turned babyface in late 2012, but this did very little to influence how fans reacted to the infamous phrase. And number 1, Roman Reigns.
We don't get an example?
Not a bad guy. It's well documented just how poorly WWE presented Reigns when he became a solo act in 2014. His character was disingenuous and forced, and he failed to build up a genuine connection with the fans. Despite this disassociation with the fan base, they pushed Reigns to the moon, and one of the worst things about this run was WWE's way of making it seem like Reigns didn't care about the negative reaction. During his babyface run, Reigns would debut the catchphrase of,
I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a good guy. I'm the guy.
Fans outright rejected this catchphrase as Reigns lacked any conviction when saying it. Fast forward to the year 2020 and Reigns would turn heel and deliver some of the most compelling character work of the modern era. During this heel run, Reigns introduced fans to several catchphrases such as the incredibly popular
Acknowledge me.
this catchphrase worked because Reigns is delivering it as if he means it. The catchphrase isn't composed of lazy written words that will be delivered half-heartedly. But there you have it, folks. 10 incredibly awful catchphrases that WWE...
Hold on, because I want to see, because I don't really know the Mrs. Was it really? So let's see here. Really? These are probably all copyrighted. I'm not going to show it. I'm just going to listen or watch it. I can't show it on here though. It's going to get copyright claimed.
Now look at the sourpuss on this guy.
Really? 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 You two want to complain about what happened to you last night?
You whiners. You bunch of crybabies. Wah, wah, wah.
I mean, Christian.
I mean, it sounds like the crowd likes it. I kind of like it too. It don't sound bad. I usually tend to like one-worded catchphrases. You know, so I don't know. It doesn't sound bad. I feel like with some of the catchphrases, it depends. Yeah, there are some horrible, terrible catchphrases, but sometimes it could be how it's delivered, and sometimes it can be who's delivering it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this doesn't really fit your character, so maybe you shouldn't say it. But I don't know. This one really doesn't sound like a bad catchphrase. Let me know in the comments though what you guys think. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Toodles.